Oh no! The important presentation is gone, and the boss is panicking. What do you say? Most people freeze. But today, we show you how smart problem solving and workplace communication can help you win a job interview.
Wow, really? So we learn how to handle a stressful office crisis and practice making suggestions?
Exactly. It is great for your business English. Hi, everyone. I'm Emily.
And I'm John. It is so good to have you here.
And I'm Emily. I was just about to tell you, John, that today's story is quite a wild ride.
A wild ride in an office? That sounds interesting. You said Anna is at a job interview, right?
Exactly. She is at Tiptop Trading. It is a big company that sells lemons.
Lemons? Okay, that is unique. So Anna is there trying to get a job, and she's probably very nervous.
Right. She is talking to Paul. Paul is the boss. He seems nice, but maybe a little bit messy. Everything is going well until, bam, the door flies open.
Oh, who is it?
It is Denise. She is the office manager. And John, she is in a total panic. She says they have lost the PowerPoint presentation for a very important meeting.
Oh no, that is a real office crisis. I hate it when technology fails. What does Paul do?
Paul is worried too. He starts looking around, but he can't find it. This is a very big problem. But this is also a big moment for Anna.
I see. This is where she can show her skills. Not just her talking skills, but her problem-solving skills.
Exactly, John. Problem solving is so important in any job. It is not just about what you know, but how you help when things go wrong.
So does Anna just sit there?
No, she doesn't. She decides to help, but she has to be careful. She's just a guest in a job interview. She needs to use good workplace communication.
Right. You can't just shout orders at the boss. You have to be polite.
Yes, the narrator in the story actually stops to help us here. He introduces some key phrases for making suggestions. This is great for our business English learners.
Oh, I love that. What kind of phrases?
Well, first, Anna needs to stay calm. She starts by suggesting simple things. She says, "Why don't you check the recycle bin?"
Aha. Why don't you? That is a classic way to suggest something. It's very polite and helpful.
Exactly. It's not a command, it's a question. John, have you ever lost something and found it in the recycle bin?
Many times, Emily, many times. It's a lifesaver. Did it work for Denise?
Sadly, no. The presentation wasn't there. Denise was getting more and more upset. She was walking in circles.
Ah, poor Denise. What did Anna suggest next?
She tried another one. She said, "How about asking the other colleagues? Maybe someone moved the file?"
How about INGing? That's another good one. It sounds very natural. How about asking?
Yes, it's very common in workplace communication. But again, nobody had seen it. The office crisis was getting worse. The meeting was starting in just a few minutes.
Wow, I can feel the stress from here. Wait, did they check the office floor? Maybe a USB stick fell down?
Anna thought of that too. She suggested searching the office. They looked under the desks and behind the printer.
And?
Nothing. Ugh, it was like the presentation had just disappeared into thin air. Paul was starting to give up.
So what was the solution? Anna's smart. I know she found it.
She used her brain. She thought about how people work. She asked Denise, "Did you send it to anyone for proofreading?"
Proofreading. That's when you send a document to someone else to check for mistakes, right?
Exactly. Anna suggested, "Maybe we could check your email outbox."
Maybe we could. That is a very soft way to give an idea. It's very gentle.
It worked. Denise checked her email, and there it was. She had sent it to a colleague the night before to check the spelling.
Wow, problem solving at its best. Anna saved the day. Denise must have been so happy.
She was, but John, there's a funny twist.
A twist. I love twists. What happened?
She was still looking for the original USB stick. You know, the little plastic thing you save files on.
Right. Did they find it?
Yes, they found it on a plate of biscuits.
On a plate of biscuits. How did it get there?
It seems someone put it there by mistake, and even worse, someone had spilled tea on the plate. The USB stick was wet and sticky.
Oh no, that's disgusting. I hope they didn't try to eat it.
No, but the main thing is the file was safe because of Anna's suggestion to check the email.
That is a great story. It really shows that being helpful in a job interview can make a huge difference.
It really did. Paul was so impressed. He saw that Anna was calm under pressure. He saw that she knew how to use business English to solve problems.
So tell me the good news. Did she get the job?
Yes, Paul offered her the position of sales executive right then and there.
Wow, from a candidate to a sales executive in one morning? That's a very successful job interview.
It really was, and it all started with being helpful during an office crisis.
I think there's a lesson there for all of us. If you see a problem, don't just watch. Try to help using those phrases we talked about.
Definitely. Why don't you, how about, and maybe we could, they're like magic words in the office.
I'm going to practice those today. Maybe I can suggest what we have for lunch.
Why don't you try it?
How about we go to that new sandwich shop?
See, you're a natural, John.
Thanks, Emily. This was a great talk. I feel much more confident about making suggestions now.
I'm glad. It's all about practice. And speaking of practice, we have more to talk about regarding Anna's new job.
Oh, really? What's next for her?
Well, getting the job is only the beginning. Now she has to actually start working at Tiptop Trading.
That's true. The first day is always the hardest.
It is, and we'll see how she handles her first big tasks very soon.
I can't wait to hear more. But before we move on, I want to ask our listeners, have you ever had a big problem during an interview?
Oh, that's a good question. Think about that, and while you do, let's get ready to look at the specific language Anna used in more detail. You know, John, before we find out if Anna can help Denise find that lost presentation, we should look at some of the special words used in Miss Story.
That is a great idea, Emily. Sometimes when a situation is stressful, like a job interview, the words can feel a bit difficult.
Exactly. So let's talk about our first word. It is a big one, job interview.
A job interview. I remember my first one. I was so nervous. My hands were shaking.
Oh, I understand. A job interview is just a meeting where you talk to a boss or a manager because you want to work for their company. In our story, Anna is in a job interview with Paul.
Right. So you are there to show them that you are the right person for the job. You answer questions and you try to stay calm.
Exactly. It's all about showing who you are, and usually it is a very quiet and serious meeting, but at Tiptop Trading, things are a little different today.
Yes, because of the office crisis. That's our second phrase, right?
Aha, you got it, an office crisis.
When I hear the word crisis, I think of a big problem, like a fire or something very dangerous.
Well, in an office, a crisis is usually something that goes wrong very quickly. It makes everyone panic. For Denise, the lost PowerPoint presentation is an office crisis because they need it right now for a meeting.
I see. So an office crisis could be the internet going down, or losing an important file, or maybe even running out of coffee?
Well, maybe not the coffee, John, but for some people that feels like a crisis. An office crisis is just a situation that needs a solution very fast.
I understand. It's a moment of high stress, and that leads to our next phrase, workplace communication.
Yes, this is a very important one. It sounds like a big business term, but it's actually very simple. It's just how people talk and share information at work.
So, when Denise runs into the room and yells that the presentation is gone, is that workplace communication?
Well, yes, it is not very calm communication, but she is telling her team about a problem. Good workplace communication is when people speak clearly and listen to each other to solve a problem.
Ah, okay. So if I say, Emily, can you help me with this report? That is workplace communication?
Exactly. It's about being clear and helpful. It's how you talk to your boss, your colleagues, and even the people you're visiting.
I like that. It makes the office a better place when communication is good.
It really does. And the last thing we should talk about is making suggestions.
Oh, I know this one. This is when you give an idea to help someone, right?
Exactly, John. Making suggestions is a big part of problem solving. Instead of just saying, oh no, the file is gone, you say, why don't we look in the email? Or maybe we can check the bin.
Oh, so a suggestion is like a helpful hint or a new path to follow.
Yes, and in our story, Anna is very good at this. Even though she's just there for a job interview, she starts making suggestions to help Denise and Paul.
That is very brave of her. I think I would be too scared to say anything if I were the one being interviewed.
It can be scary, but that's why we're learning these words. When you have the right words like I suggest or how about, it's easier to speak up.
Wow, I feel like I'm learning a lot already. These words really help me understand how an office works.
I'm so happy to hear that, John. These are the tools that help you stay calm during an office crisis.
I'll remember that. So we have job interview, office crisis, workplace communication, and making suggestions.
Perfect. You have a great memory. Now, I want to ask our listeners a question. Have you ever had a crisis at your job? Or maybe during an interview?
That's a good question. Think about what you said or what you did to help.
We would love to hear your stories. But for now, let's get back to Anna. She's right in the middle of the panic.
I'm ready. Let's see if her suggestions actually work.
Let's go. Keep these words in your mind as we listen to what happens next. Now that we know those important words, John, let's practice using them. It is one thing to know a word, but it is another thing to say it out loud with confidence, don't you think?
Oh, absolutely, Emily. I often find that when I'm in a stressful situation, like a job interview, my voice gets a little quiet. Practicing out loud helps me feel much more ready.
I agree. So let's do some shadowing. For our listeners at home, this is easy. I will say a simple sentence, then John will repeat it. And then it's your turn. You should try to say it just like John.
I am ready. Let's start. I'll try my best to sound natural.
Perfect. Let's start with our primary keyword, problem solving. Here's the first sentence. I enjoy problem solving at work.
I enjoy problem solving at work.
That was great, John. You sounded very professional. Listeners, now it's your turn. Try saying it. Pause.
That sentence feels very positive. It makes me sound like a person who doesn't get scared of trouble.
Exactly. Now, let's try one about the job interview. Imagine you are talking to a friend. Here's the sentence. I have a job interview at Tiptop Trading today.
I have a job interview at Tiptop Trading today.
Excellent. You sounded a bit excited there. I like that. To listeners, now you try. Remember to sound happy about the interview. Pause.
Haha, I was imagining those lemons you mentioned earlier. Selling lemons sounds like fun.
It certainly does. Now let's look at workplace communication. This is a long one, but it is very useful. Ready? Good workplace communication makes the team stronger.
Good workplace communication makes the team stronger.
Perfect. It really does. When we talk to each other clearly, things don't go wrong as often. To listeners, your turn. Speak it out loud. Pause.
Wow, I can feel my confidence growing already. What is next?
Let's try making suggestions. This is what Anna has to do when things go wrong. Try this. I am making suggestions to find the lost file.
I am making suggestions to find the lost file.
Good. To listeners, try it now. Think about Anna trying to help Denise. Pause.
It must be so hard to make suggestions when everyone is panicking. Denise was really worried about that office crisis, wasn't she?
She was. That leads us to our next sentence. We can solve this office crisis together.
We can solve this office crisis together.
I love the energy, John. You sound like a real leader. To listeners, can you say it with that much energy? Give it a go. Pause.
You know, Emily, saying these sentences makes me realize that business English isn't just about big, fancy words. It's about being helpful and calm.
Exactly, John. That is a very smart observation. Business English is about connecting with people. Let's try a sentence about that. I use business English to help my colleagues.
I use business English to help my colleagues.
Wonderful. To listeners, your turn. Think about how your words can help someone today. Pause.
I see what you mean now. It feels like I'm building a bridge between me and the other person.
That is a beautiful way to put it, John. Now, let's try a couple more. Let's practice the specific suggestion Anna made. Why don't we check the email inbox?
Why don't we check the email inbox?
Good. That is a very polite way to suggest something. To listeners, try it. Why don't we... Pause.
And what about the USB stick? That was a funny part of the story.
Yes, let's do one more for that. The USB stick is in the plate of biscuits.
The USB stick is in the plate of biscuits.
Great job, John. To listeners, try that one. It's a bit silly, but it's good for your expression. Pause.
Haha, that was fun. I feel much more relaxed now. Shadowing really helps the words stick in my head.
I'm so glad. You did a great job today. And to everyone listening, don't worry if you didn't get it perfect the first time. You can always go back and try again.
Right. Practice makes perfect, as they say.
Exactly. And speaking of practice, it's almost time to see how all this problem solving actually worked out for Anna.
Oh, I can't wait. I want to hear how Paul reacted when he found the USB stick in his tea.
It is quite a surprise. But before we get to the end of the story, I want to ask our listeners a question. Have you ever had an office crisis? How did you handle it?
Aha, that is a great question. Maybe they used some of the same workplace communication skills Anna used.
I hope so. It's so important to stay calm.
Well, I'm certainly feeling calmer now after our practice session.
Good. Now, why don't we take a little breath and then move on? We still need to find out if Anna gets the job.
Yes, let's see if her job interview ends with a success.
I have a feeling it might, but there's a little twist at the end that you won't expect.
Another twist? Oh, I love twists. Let's keep going.
You did great with that practice, John. It really helps to hear the words out loud.
It does. And now I want to ask our listeners a question. We call this our question of the day.
Oh, I love this part. What is the question today?
Well, since Anna is facing a big office crisis, my question is, how do you use problem solving when something goes wrong at work?
That is a perfect question. Problem solving is so important in a job interview and in daily life. It shows you are ready for anything.
Exactly. It makes you a valuable team member. Here are 5 simple ways you might answer this question.
1. I always take a deep breath to stay calm before I act.
2. I look for a solution by checking my old emails or files.
Just like Denise should have done. 3. I ask my coworkers for their ideas and help.
4. I make a list of all the things I can try to fix the problem.
And 5. I tell my manager immediately so we can fix it together.
Those are all excellent examples of workplace communication and making suggestions.
They really are. Listeners, what about you? How do you handle a crisis? We would love to hear your stories. Please write them down or say them.
Yes, please share them with us. It helps everyone learn together. Now, let's get back to the story. Anna is still in that room with Paul and a very worried Denise.
Right. I am curious. Let's see if Anna can use these suggestions to save the day at Tiptop Trading and finish her job interviews successfully. What a wonderful way to end the day. Anna used her problem-solving skills and she actually got the job.
It really shows that staying calm during an office crisis is so important. Paul was very impressed with her.
Exactly. Good workplace communication isn't just about perfect grammar. It's about being helpful and making suggestions when things go wrong. Anna did that perfectly.
I agree. In a job interview, showing you can think clearly is a big win for everyone.
Well, that is all for today's episode of our Business English series. We hope you feel more confident now.
Thank you for joining us today. Remember, next time you face a challenge, just take a deep breath.
Yes, you are doing great with your English. We are very proud of your progress.
Haha, me too. Goodbye, everyone.
Goodbye. See you next time.